Welcome, dear soul. Tonight, let go. Let your thoughts settle like mist upon still water. You've entered a place beyond time, a place where the forest breathes, where the water remembers, and where your spirit can finally rest. This is not just a story. This is a return to silence, to memory, to the whispers beneath the lake. Whispers beneath the lake. Close your eyes, dear listener. Let your breath soften, and let us drift together toward a quiet lake, hidden beyond the veil of time and noise. There, in a fold between worlds, lies a body of water so still, so ancient, that even the wind bows in silence when it passes. They say that beneath its glassy surface, a legend breathes, not of kings or wars, but of sound, whispers carried by ripples, woven into dreams. This is where our story begins. In the hush between dusk and moonrise, in the hush beneath the lake. The lake has no name, not because it was forgotten, but because it remembers too much. Every footstep near its edge becomes part of its song. Every tear shed, every wish made, settles in its depths like pearls. The trees that circle the shore sway not to the breeze, but to the rhythm of memory. The pines hum low, the willows sigh, and the birches whisper what the lake has told them in the night. Not everyone can hear it, but if your heart is still, you just might. There is a story passed from root to root, from breeze to branch, of a woman who once walked these woods with bare feet and gentle eyes. Her name is lost, but her voice remains. She was no queen, no prophet, but she listened. And because she listened, the lake opened to her. Its whispers curled around her fingers, like mist at dawn. Its memories poured into her dreams, like silver rain. She became the voice of the still water. They say she spoke with the deer. She sang to the stones. And when the moon was full, she would lie beside the lake, hands folded on her chest, and dream what it dreamed. The villagers feared her, then adored her, then forgot her. But the forest did not. The water did not. The wind still carries her name, like a secret lullaby. And so it is said, when the fog is thick, and the owls hold their breath, you might hear her, a soft echo in the reeds, a hum beneath the lily pads. Not a ghost, not a spirit, but something older and kinder, a presence, a rhythm, a hush wrapped in moonlight. One traveler, long ago, claimed he heard her voice. He had walked for days, seeking nothing, haunted by his own silence. At the edge of the lake, he Saturday, he waited, and the wind answered. It brought the scent of wild mint, the sound of water kissing stone, and something softer still, a whisper just beneath thought. He closed his eyes, and in the hush, he heard You are not alone. The lake, the trees, the sky above, all seemed to exhale at once. His burdens did not vanish, but they grew quiet, like stones sleeping under moss. He left the next morning, but never truly departed. To this day, the forest remembers him, and the lake adds his silence to its shimmering tapestry of sound. For that is the secret of this place. Nothing is erased. Everything is absorbed. Every sorrow finds a shore. Every dream floats. Every whisper lingers. If you sit by the lake, with open palms and steady breath, you might find your voice gently returning to you. There are no roads to the lake, only paths made by deer, foxes, and memories. You'll know you're close when the air grows soft, as if time itself has slowed to listen. Birdsong will hush, even the crickets will pause, and in that pause, you will hear it, not with your ears, but with something deeper. The lake speaks not in words, but in textures of silence. The lap of water against stone, the distant hoot of an owl, the breath between wind gusts. Each sound is a thread, and if you follow them, they will lead you inward, where the true legend rests, not in a tale, but in your noticing. At the heart of the lake's song is not an answer, but a question. Not who am I, but what have you remembered? The water is ancient, older than any map, older even than stars reflected upon it. It has seen joy. It has held sorrow. It has learned patience. And it asks you to do the same. To sit, to breathe, and to become part of the stillness. Children who wander near the lake often return changed, not frightened, but gentler. They draw pictures of glowing figures, or whisper of a lady made of mist, whose eyes sparkle like fish beneath the surface. They don't remember the words she said, but they sleep better afterward. And sometimes they hum melodies no one taught them. The lady of the lake, if she is still there, asks for nothing. She needs no shrine, no offering. She only asks that you listen. And so the forest remains her chapel, the moss her carpet, the owls her choir, and the lake her voice, her mirror, her memory. On certain nights, when the moon hangs low and the stars whisper secrets to the pines, a glow is seen upon the lake, soft and blue, like the breath of a dream. No one knows if it's light, or sound, or memory, spilling over the surface. But those who've seen it return home quieter, as if something sacred touched their thoughts. They try to describe it, like the hush before snowfall, or like a lullaby sung by the sky. But no word truly holds it, because it isn't something to be told. It's something to be felt, like the weight of love, or the warmth of a single hand in the dark. That glow is a whisper beneath the lake, waiting for those who carry silence in their hearts. Even the creatures know. The deer do not run here. The fox does not stork. The owls do not hoot in warning. There is no threat, no predator, no chase, only rest, only peace. It is as if the forest itself forgets to be wild here and chooses instead to remember how to be still. Old folks say that if you leave something behind, the lake keeps it safe. A letter, a ribbon, a sigh, not lost, but held. And when you are ready, you may return and retrieve it, not as it was, but as it was meant to be, transformed by the patience of water. There are stories carved in the bark of the oldest trees, not in words, but in patterns, in knots and rings, in the way the branches stretch like arms toward the moon. These trees remember. They do not shout. They do not argue. They simply keep. And what they keep becomes the forest's memory. A traveler once asked, "Who guards the lake?" An old woman smiled and said, "No one." Then she added, "Or perhaps everyone. For it is not locked, not hidden, not protected by sword or spell. It is guarded by reverence, by silence, by the kind of listening that feels like prayer." The legend of the lake was never meant to be a legend. It was meant to be a reminder that in a world full of motion and noise, there are still places where slowness is sacred and whispers are divine. So if ever your soul feels heavy or your mind feels loud, remember, there is a lake waiting. It does not forget. It does not judge. It only listens. The seasons turn, and still the lake remains. Spring brings soft rains that bead like tears upon its surface. Summer paints a gold at dawn, while dragonflies trace invisible songs. In autumn, the leaves kiss the water goodbye, spiraling down in slow dances. And winter hushes it completely, a sheet of glass reflecting the pale breath of the sky. Through it all, the whispers continue, soft, steady, eternal. They say the lake has no bottom, that it stretches down, not into earth, but into memory. Some who have stared too long claim to see faces, not frightening, familiar, as if the lake holds every gaze ever cast upon it, and offers them back when you need to feel seen. It does not trap, it reflects, and what it shows depends on what you bring. The legend changes with the teller. Some say the Lady of the Lake was a spirit of healing. Others say she was once a girl, lost in sorrow, who became part of the water she loved. But none of that truly matters, for the lake is not bound by names or forms. It is not a story. It is a space, a presence, an invitation. And its power lies not in belief, but in presence. The night creatures gather close. When the moon is high, rabbits rest at the base of the reeds. Moths spiral toward stars they'll never reach. A lone wolf may watch from the ridge, not with hunger, but with knowing. For even the wildest beings are soothed by something older than instinct, a stillness that vibrates just beneath perception, a soundless cradle rocking the edge of the world. If you listen very closely, you might hear the words, "Lay it down." Whatever you carry, your worries, your noise, your tangled thoughts, the lake does not need them, but it can hold them, like the sky holds starlight. Without burning, lay it down and listen. No one returns from the lake unchanged, not because of magic, but because of memory. You remember how to breathe again, how to notice, how to soften. You may not leave with answers, but you'll leave with questions that don't hurt to hold. You'll walk slower, you'll speak quieter, you'll dream wider, and in your silence, you'll hear it again. The echo beneath the lake. There are people, keepers, they call them, who visit the lake once a year. Not to take, not to tell, but simply to sit. They bring nothing. They speak to no one. They sit among the ferns and offer their quiet presence as part of the lake's breath. They are not chosen. They are called by dreams, by longing, by something unspoken inside. One day, when you least expect it, you may feel the pull, a desire to go somewhere without knowing where, to follow the scent of moss, the trail of birdsong, the quiet between your own heartbeats. Follow it, even if it makes no sense, even if no one else hears it, because the lake is calling you, not with words, with silence. And when you arrive, you'll know, not because of signs, or directions, or names, but because something inside you will unclench. The air will feel soft, your breath will slow, and you will remember how to listen, not just to the lake, but to yourself. And that is the true whisper. So now, dear listener, let your eyes remain closed. Let the stillness of this story settle into you like moonlight on water. You are part of the legend now. You carry its hush in your breath, its depth in your heart, its echo in your dreams. Whenever the world grows too loud, return here, to the forest, to the lake, to the place where sound becomes silence, and silence becomes song. You are not alone. The lake remembers, always. Shoo! Let your breath be soft, your heartbeat gentle, and your dreams deep and kind. The lake is still there, listening, remembering, waiting for your return. Sleep now. Sweet one. You are held. You are safe. And the whispers beneath the lake will carry you home.